Okay, hi. So today we're going to get into classical guitar technique. So in this class, you can play with a pick or with your fingers. I recommend for most of you to go ahead and play with the pick. Okay, it's going to be more applicable for most of the genres of music that you guys listen to. If you're a rock fan, a blues fan, a jazz fan, a funk fan, a metal fan, it's more applicable for those genres. And those genres, it's actually hard to play just with your fingers, okay? If you're someone that loves classical guitar, or flamenco guitar, or Brazilian guitar, then this is for you, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to show this to you and you can decide whether you want to use the pick or your fingers after watching both of these videos. The first thing is to talk about the terminology, and I did mention this briefly in those initial pages, right? The right hand is P-I-M-A, and that's pulgar, indice, medio, annular, okay? So that's pretty standard around the world. So we're going to be talking about mainly the thumb, the index, and the middle finger for now. I'm going to show you two different kinds of strokes. The apoyando, which is the rest stroke, and the tirando, which is the free stroke. Okay, so let me start you out with apoyando. And there's going to be many, many points that these two techniques have in common, just a couple points of differentiation that I'll clarify later. But let's start with apoyando. So the first thing I want to mention for both techniques is I don't want to have any pain or tension in my wrist, okay? So however you're sitting, check in with your body and make sure that your wrist is relaxed. You can see I've got my hand out in the air and I'm just relaxing, closing my eyes, just relax, and kind of a natural body motion right here just to relax my wrist, okay? That's the first thing, relax your wrist, no pain, okay? The second thing is I want you to take your thumb and place it on the top of the low E string. And you can see that I'm kind of, towards the front part of the sound hole. I'm not all the way over here. I'm not way back here. Just kind of right here. And my thumb is just resting naturally on the top of the low E. I'm not pressing super hard, but that is kind of my point of stability. The third thing I want to mention, and if you look at my right hand, you'll notice that my thumb is out beyond my fingers. Okay, a lot of my beginning students play like this when they start out with fingerstyle technique. So you see how my hand is like this? We don't want that, we want this. So you don't need to turn it so straight that you feel pain in here, okay? But we do want our thumb out beyond the fingers, like this. The fourth point, and this is very important, and this is kind of hard to get used to, is to arch the wrist. Even though I'm not really consciously doing it, it feels relaxed to me to have this kind of a angle here. A lot of students do this. And when you do this, it's going to really inhibit our ability to play correctly. So we want to pretend that we're holding an egg underneath your wrist, and that if you went like this, crack, and you've got egg all over your guitar. Okay, so keep your hand up like this. Again, no pain, but we do want our hand arched up nicely. The reason we want to do this, okay, is because of the way that we stroke. We're going to feel the power of our stroke coming from the knuckles on our palm. Okay, so this is point number 5. The stroke emanates from the knuckle on the palm, okay? So a good friend of mine who's head of guitar in Phoenix, Arizona, at Glendale, Arizona Community College, he told me you can think about chakulahan. You can think about it as though you're walking. This would be your hip joint, okay? And this would be your knees. So as you walk, the stroke really comes from your hip. Your knees move, but the main stroke comes from here. It's the same thing on the guitar. So we want our wrist to be arched up so that as I play, I can stroke from here, okay? Now, where do we place our fingertips on the strings? And this is a little bit different whether you have nails or not. But I want you to target the upper left-hand corner of your finger, generally, to be the point of origin of your stroke, okay? So I'm kind of placing that, if you can see, as I play, it's coming from right here is kind of where I place it. Now there are times where I may turn the hand and play in a different part of the nail to get a different tone, but in general, I start here in the upper left-hand corner. Point number 7 is really related to the term apoyando, okay? Let's say I'm playing the high E string. My target with my fingertips is going to be the B string. Okay? And when I play through the high E string, I'm going to land on the B string. Okay, can you see that? So I pluck through the high E, and I land on the B. If I was playing the B string, I would land on the G. If I was playing the G string, I would land on the D. If I'm playing the D string, I would land on the A. So you're always targeting the string below with the rest stroke, okay? This is important that if you don't have nails, don't stick your finger too far down below the string, because then you won't be able to do that. You're gonna have to pick up like this. So don't do that. Another thing you may have noticed was, in that little phrase I just played, was I didn't repeat, okay? Or if I did, it was just once or twice, okay? So you don't play guitar like this. Just like we don't walk with one leg, okay? We walk with both, okay? So we're gonna do what we call alternate strokes, okay? And this is similar to how with the pick I said alternate picking, down, up. So let's say we're using I and M. For the most part, I'm gonna be going alternate. And it's just an efficiency thing, meaning you'll be able to play much faster with that in the long run than when you repeat a finger. Okay, so we're gonna alternate stroke. And this is our last and final point for apoyando, the 9th point, is that I want you to prepare your fingers. Meaning, if I stroke through the high E string, okay, and now I'm gonna stroke with my M, my I is gonna come up as the M comes down. Okay, so now see how they work like that? So if M comes down, I comes up. I comes down, M comes up. Because you don't want to do this. You don't want to go pull through the string, right? And then leave it there and then pull through again, right? And then you have got both fingers down and nothing's in the air ready to go, okay? So let me review the 9 points that I mentioned for apoyando, and then I'm going to show you tirando. So the first thing, which is applicable to both, was remember, no pain in the wrist and relax your wrist. The second point was to rest your thumb on the low E string. And later I can show you how we play on the low E string, or I can show you now briefly. It's okay to put your thumb on the face of the guitar just for that string if you'd like, for playing notes here. Or you can do it from the air, okay? But obviously you can't do a rest stroke on the low E string. Okay, so your thumb is on the low E string, except for when we need to play on the low E string. The third point is our thumb is out in front of the fingers. The fourth point was that our wrist is arched. Pretend you've got an egg underneath your wrist. The fifth point was that the stroke emanates or originates or comes from, the strength of it, from the knuckle that's on your palm, okay? The sixth point was I want you to stroke from the upper left-hand corner of where your nail meets your flesh in your fingers. So that's kind of where you feel the string hitting is up here. The seventh one was that with apoyando, we target the string below. So if I'm playing the E string, I'm landing on the B string, etc., as you move through the strings of the guitar. The eighth point was that we alternate stroke. Okay, so I am, M, I, however you're doing it. Later you'll get more advanced, you use the A, M, A, however you do it, but try not to repeat too much, okay? It's okay if you repeat a little, but generally we want to constantly be alternating, just like how you walk, okay? And then the last thing I mentioned was the preparation, right? So as one finger goes down, the other one comes up. They move past each other in the air. And it's not a huge stroke, it's very little. Okay, so that's apoyando. So now I will talk to you about tirando, or the free stroke. So for tirando, or the free stroke, we're not going to have a lot of different points, okay? In fact, many of the things I just mentioned we use for tirando as well. So I'm just going to talk about the main different things, okay? And the most important thing is that we don't push through the string to land on the string below, okay? Instead, most teachers tell you to target kind of the ball of your thumb here. So you don't actually literally hit it, but the stroke moves like that, like you're coming in towards your palm or towards, the ball of your thumb down here. So let me show you the difference. You'll notice also, actually this is point number 2, I don't put my thumb on the low E string when I play tirando, okay? What I do is my thumb follows a string or two below. So let me show you both concepts. So here is free stroke. And you'll notice that I was moving my fingers. Just a little motion, but it's coming back. It's not coming up. We don't do this. Do not do this. It's got to come back as though you're coming towards your palm or the ball of your thumb back here. Okay, we don't go that far with it, but... And you'll notice my thumb is one string below, no matter where I am, right? If I go... can see after all these points, it's a lot to think about compared to the pick, which was pretty much just down up. So that's right hand classical guitar technique.